You close your eyes for a second and try to remember the last time you felt truly present. Not just going through the motions, but actually there, confident, connected, ready. For a lot of men over 50, that memory feels further and further away. And the frustrating part isn't just the physical side of things, it's the silence around it. Nobody talks about it. Your doctor rushes through the appointment. Your friends joke about it or avoid the subject entirely. And you're left sitting with something that's affecting your confidence, your relationship, your sense of self, without a single honest conversation to help you make sense of it. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I specialize in men's health. I've spent over a decade working with men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. And one of the most powerful things I've learned is that most of what men are experiencing in this stage of life is not inevitable. It's not simply the price of getting older. In many cases, it's a result of specific physiological changes that, when you understand them, you can actually do something about. And today I want to share 3 techniques that take no more than 2 minutes each, things my patients have started doing as part of their daily routine that have made a genuinely meaningful difference in their performance, their energy, and the way they feel in their own bodies. Before I get into the techniques, I want to give you some context, because understanding why something works is what makes you actually stick with it. Male performance after 50 isn't just about one system in the body. It's about a conversation happening between your vascular system, your hormonal system, your nervous system, and your mental state. When any one of those systems is out of balance, the others feel it. And when multiple systems are struggling at the same time, which is what happens for most men in their 60s, the effects show up in ways that feel deeply personal. Less energy, less desire, less confidence, difficulty performing the way you used to, and a quiet but persistent feeling that something has been lost. What's actually happening, in most cases, is a combination of declining nitric oxide production, lower testosterone levels, reduced circulation to the peripheral tissues, and a nervous system that's been stuck in low-grade stress mode for so long, it's forgotten how to fully relax. The good news is that each of these factors responds to the right kind of stimulus, and the techniques I'm about to show you work precisely because they address these root causes, not the symptoms, but what's driving them underneath. I have a patient I'll call James. He came to see me at 64, and he was one of those men who had always taken care of himself, reasonably active, not overweight, no major health conditions. But something had shifted in the last 2 or 3 years, and he couldn't put his finger on exactly when it started. He'd lost interest in intimacy. When he did try, the experience wasn't what it used to be. He felt disconnected from his own body. And he told me something I hear often. I just assumed this was it. I thought this was what getting old felt like. We went through his routine together, and what I found was not a broken man. It was a man whose body had been quietly starved of the right inputs for years. Small deficits accumulated over time. And when we started making small but targeted corrections, including the 2-minute practices I'm going to share with you, the changes came faster than either of us expected. The first technique is diaphragmatic breathing, and I want you to take it seriously, even if it sounds too simple to be real. Most men breathe from their chest, short, shallow breaths that keep the body in a low level of tension all day long. This pattern of breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system, the branch that controls your stress response. And when your stress response is chronically activated, your body prioritizes survival over everything else. Blood is redirected away from the reproductive organs. Testosterone production is suppressed. The vessels that supply the erectile tissue receive less flow. Your body is essentially deciding that this is not the moment for intimacy, because from a biological standpoint, you're still in the middle of a threat. Diaphragmatic breathing switches that off. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, what's often called the rest and digest system, and signals to every part of your body that it's safe to relax, to open up, to function the way it's designed to. The blood flow changes, the vessels dilate, the body stops rationing its resources and starts directing them where they need to go. 2 minutes of slow, deep belly breathing, in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 6, done once in the morning and once before bed, can create a measurable shift in how your body functions over time. It's not a metaphor. The physiology behind it is well established. My patients who do this consistently report better sleep, lower resting tension, and improvements in their intimate experiences that they weren't expecting from something so quiet and so simple. The second technique involves movement, but not the kind you're probably thinking of. I'm not talking about going to the gym. I'm talking about a specific sequence of pelvic and lower body movements that take about 2 minutes and can be done anywhere, in private, that directly improve circulation to the tissues most involved in male sexual function. This includes what are known as male pelvic floor exercises, and I bring them up in almost every conversation I have with men over 50 because the evidence behind them is genuinely impressive. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that most men have never thought about and have therefore never trained. These muscles support the bladder and bowel, but they also play a critical role in erectile function and ejaculatory control. When they are weak or have poor tone, which happens naturally with age and inactivity, circulation in the pelvic region suffers, and the muscles that are supposed to help maintain an erection aren't doing their job efficiently. Strengthening them is straightforward. You contract the muscles you would use to stop the flow of urine, hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and release. 10 repetitions twice a day, 2 minutes total. Studies in urology have shown that men who practice pelvic floor exercises consistently can see meaningful improvements in erectile function, in some cases comparable to the effects of medication, without the side effects. Combine those contractions with some light hip circles and a few slow hip flexor stretches, and you've created a 2-minute routine that's doing more for your pelvic circulation than most men do in an entire week. It's not glamorous, but it works. James, the patient I mentioned earlier, was skeptical when I first brought this up. He came back 3 weeks later and told me, quietly but clearly, that things were already starting to feel different. Not dramatically, but noticeably. And that noticeably is everything, because it gives a man permission to believe that the trajectory can change. The third technique is one that connects the mental and the physical in a way that I think is profoundly underappreciated in men's health: intentional cold and warm water contrast at the end of your shower. I know that sounds minor. Stay with me. When you alternate between warm and cold water, 30 seconds warm, 30 seconds cool, repeated 2 or 3 times, you're essentially training your vascular system. The warm water causes the vessels to dilate. The cold causes them to contract. This alternating expansion and contraction is like a workout for your blood vessels. It improves vascular tone, promotes circulation throughout the body, and has been shown in research to support hormonal balance, reduce inflammation, and improve the functioning of the autonomic nervous system. For men specifically, this kind of vascular training has a direct relationship with erectile health. A well-toned vascular system responds faster, dilates more fully, and maintains circulation more effectively, all of which translates directly to better performance. The cold exposure also has an effect on testosterone levels and on alertness and mood that many of my patients describe as feeling more switched on than they have in years. It takes less than 2 minutes at the end of your regular shower, and it's the kind of habit that, once you feel the difference, you won't want to stop. Now, I want to be clear about something. These 3 techniques are not a replacement for medical care, for a healthy diet, for adequate sleep, or for addressing any underlying conditions you might have. They are tools, powerful ones, backed by real science, but they work best as part of a broader commitment to taking care of yourself. What I've seen in my practice over and over is that men who start with these small, consistent actions begin to create momentum. They feel a shift, and that shift motivates them to make more changes: better food choices, more water, better sleep habits, less time sitting. The body starts responding, and the man starts believing again that his health is something he has agency over, not something that's just happening to him. That's the real transformation, not just the physical improvements, though those are real and they matter. It's the feeling of being back in the driver's seat of your own body. And for those who want to go a step further, who are already working on their habits but feel like they need an extra layer of support to help the body optimize these processes more effectively, I want to mention something I recommend to select patients as a complement to this kind of routine. It's a natural supplement formulated with ingredients that have documented effects on male circulation, nitric oxide production, and vascular health. It's not a magic solution, and I would never present it as one. But for men who are doing the right things and want their body to have the best possible nutritional foundation for these systems to function at their peak, it's worth knowing about. The link to learn more is in the first pinned comment below this video. No pressure, just information, the same way I always try to present it. I also want to say something directly, man to man, or rather, as your health advocate speaking to you honestly. The shame and silence around men's sexual health is costing people their quality of life. There is nothing weak about noticing that your body has changed and wanting to understand why. There is nothing embarrassing about taking 2 minutes a day to do something that helps you feel more like yourself. The men who come to my office and are willing to have the honest conversation, to look at what's actually happening and ask what they can do about it, are the ones who see results. Courage in this context looks like a breathing exercise before bed, like a cold shower, like pelvic floor contractions in your home office between calls, small acts of self-care that accumulate into something significant. If you've made it this far in the video, you already know you're that kind of man. You're here because you want to understand, and you want to do something about it. That matters more than you might think. Start with one of these techniques today, just one. Do it for 7 days, and pay attention to how your body responds, not with massive expectations, just with honest observation. Most of my patients notice something within the first 2 weeks: better sleep, more energy in the mornings, a subtle but real shift in how they feel physically. And for many, over the course of 4 to 6 weeks, improvements in the area that brought them to my office in the first place. You deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve a satisfying intimate life. You deserve to wake up with energy and go to bed feeling like you did something that day that was worth doing. None of that has an expiration date. It just requires the right information and the willingness to act on it. If this video was useful to you, please give it a like. It helps this channel reach more men who need this kind of honest, science-based conversation about their health. Subscribe if you haven't already, because every week I bring new content on men's health after 50 with the same care and the same commitment to giving you real information you can actually use. And leave a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me where you're watching from, or tell me which of these 3 techniques you're going to try first. I genuinely love to know. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.